everyone. I'm Carlota Pico from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here today with Michael Ranmi Akinle, who is Clari's EMEA growth lead and has over 3 years of experience in marketing and communications. Welcome, Michael, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Carlota. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Great. So let's jump straight into the interview. I'd love to learn a little bit about your background, a bit about your company, and how you got into your current role.
Yeah, sounds good. So, my name is Michael, as Carlota said. I am currently kind of head of growth for Clari in EMEA. And what that essentially means is I'm primarily responsible for getting us and building our customer base here in EMEA and getting us in front of the companies that we want to be speaking to. So that's kind of my primary job, and kind of on the marketing side is essentially understanding how we can leverage digital marketing today. Of course, because of the impact of COVID, we can't really do anything face to face. So really, we're just trying to figure out how we can leverage loads of different digital marketing strategies to get in front of our customers, because they're all online.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So as EMEA growth lead, what kind of skills do you need to be effective in your role? And this would be more as information and guidelines for aspiring young professionals who also want to get into business development and marketing.
No problem. I definitely think that one thing that for me, I feel like being empathetic and being really human is become so crucial in my role, especially when you're constantly, you're communicating on a phone, you're communicating via emails, you're communicating on social media. It's very, very easy to kind of come across as robotic, to come across as kind of a little bit unhuman. So I think that it's really a very, very powerful skill that anyone that wants to get into maybe sales or marketing today needs to have, is the ability to empathize and to have really kind of high emotional intelligence. And I think another one is just really to be adaptable. Of course, we're kind of thrown into this pandemic, and we kind of all had to think on our feet, right? So being adaptable, and that kind of links to being creative as well, because if you're going from situation to situation and you have to adapt to loads of different situations, you need to really think about how to become much more creative in your approach to brand awareness, to maybe organically speaking to your customers, and so on and so forth. So those are, for me right now, I would say the most relevant skills in my role. Well, skills that I've had to display anyway. It's loads and loads of creativity, a lot of empathy. Right now, I think it's by far the most relevant kind of qualities and skills you need to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Michael. I'm also in business development at Bearer Content. And for me, the ability to be able to connect with different people in different ways and according to also their cultural sensitivities, I think is extremely important, especially when you're in marketing, because consumers, one size does not fit all, and consumers just want different things depending on who they are, where they've been raised, et cetera, et cetera. So it's extremely important to be able to adapt and be able to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk, be able to walk in their shoes at the end of the day and think like they do.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head there. Yeah.
Great. Well, speaking about sales, because obviously we're both very sales focused. So whereas marketing is everything you do to reach the customers, sales is everything you do to close the customers. So what are some of the best performing marketing strategies that you have led, which as a result have led your colleagues to close some of the biggest deals for Clari in the EMEA region?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And when I think back at it, I joined Clari in February, right? So I wouldn't say within Clari, there's a marketing initiative that I've led that's closed kind of a major deal. But I would say my previous life, before I joined Clari and my previous company, there was actually a a webinar that we did that was, really, really effective in terms of kind of the topic, and the speaker we had that actually led my previous company to close a huge deal with a broadcasting company here in the UK, which if I say broadcasting, you would know who it is. So yeah, that was a really successful marketing event, I would say, that I led. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So basically, you were focused on providing value to your future customers, which in essence also provided your sales team with a new deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think around the time, I was in an employee communication space before I joined Clari, right? And at the time, a lot of companies were thinking about, how do we leverage our employees, and how do we help them become the voice of our brand? Right, that was like super, super important, and that was like top priorities for a lot of marketing professionals at some of the largest companies in the world. And this particular company I'm talking about that bought the software of my previous company for quite a lot of money, they wanted to do exactly that, right? Especially because they were broadcasting business. It's brand image, brand reputation, advocacy was a massive priority for them at the time. So this kind of virtual online webinar that I led was super relevant for them, and through that they were able to see the value of employee advocacy. They were able to see the value of your employees being the voice of your brand, and how that can drive really powerful return on investment. So yeah, that was super successful, and I was quite pleased about that.
Okay, excellent. So basically, you're really in customer-centric marketing efforts, which leads me into my next question, Michael. So thank you for that introduction. So customer-centric marketing efforts, as a general definition, it's a marketing approach designed around customer needs and interests, and it uses a blend of intuition, a blend of common sense, and also solid data about customer behavior to basically drive new sales, like the example that you previously touched upon. So as a computer software company, what customer experience strategies do you think are disrupting the status quo right now in your industry?
Right. I could definitely, say Clari is disrupting the industry, and I believe how we're doing that. Well, one of the ways we're doing that is we are starting to, because of COVID again, we've kind of had to move virtual. So, but we wanted to do very different things. So when COVID came and, marketing had to really shift everything from face-to-face to online, the trend was a lot of webinars, and it just became kind of convoluted and boring, right? But we wanted to do something different and create a different experience for our customers. So we decided, hey, people don't want people talking at them. People want to engage in conversation. So we started doing this thing called Master of Revenue roundtables, which were essentially, if it was a face-to-face event, it would be a roundtable, full of peers, and talking about a particular topic, and they're all chiming in and they're all adding value to that topic. So taking that virtual was really interesting to see, how when you get a group of people all interested in the same thing, in the same industry, with kind of the same mindset, with the same goals, how they really add value to a conversation, and they all have something to say, and they all leave feeling that they've learned something new, and that was really, really powerful.
Right, and that they're also more connected to each other as well.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and it's like kind of creating a community, and we're talking about brand image and brand reputation. Clari becomes that company that connects individuals to each other, and if you want to know, we kind of become that kind of. We kind of start building that reputation of, well, if you wanna hear the voice of your peers, come to Clari. Go to like a Clari roundtable. If you want to understand what other people are doing and how they are being innovative, go to Clari, kind of thing. And that's essentially what we're saying to our customers today.
I love it. Well done, Michael. I'll have to apply perhaps some of those tips into
yes, you should.
Business
it's
development
powerful
strategy.
yeah.
Are the new thing, I guess. Great. Well, in 2019, Clari raised another 60 million US dollars in a round led by Sapphire Ventures. So firstly, congratulations on that, of course.
Thank you.
And from your experience, what role do you think marketing plays in fundraising?
A huge role, actually, because essentially marketing is not just the marketing professionals within your organization, right? Marketing is the marketing professionals, it's the sales development people, it's the sales rep, it's everyone's marketing. And, you know, it's really, really important that for investors, when they're investing in a company, is that, that company needs to align with their values, and that company needs to align with exactly what they're looking for. And that they need to be able to look at a company and say, hey, we can trust this business, right? Because they're speaking the same language as us, and that was really, really important, in terms of getting that investment from Sapphire Ventures, because they saw a brand that was going to grow in the next couple of years, that was going to disrupt the industry, that had a really, really impressive, talented group of people. And so it was kind of a no-brainer, right? When you add all those things together, we are going to have a unicorn here. We're going to have a brand that was worth investing in because that trust is there. And that's all down to the job marketing is doing on our social media pages, how they are portraying Clari, how they are portraying our culture. And one of kind of my initiatives this quarter is to get on more social media platforms and really portray the culture of Clari and what it's like to work for Clari. So if people see that, not just customers but investors see stuff like that, and that's what you want them to see, because they're not just investing in the name, they're investing in the people in the company, and they're investing in the vision of our leaders. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I used to be an entrepreneur myself, and I raised a round of investment. And during that time, it wasn't only about the data, it was also about the team that I had, and it was also about the values that I shared with the company that invested into my platform. And uh, I completely agree with what you just said, because marketing is the face of a company.
Absolutely, yeah.
Marketing is basically the pulse of the company. It's what the company is not only about, but it's also the values that the company shares across its boards, across its departments, and it's also what the company will offer and promote to its customers. And I think
Precisely.
right now consumers are all about being able to connect with the brand much more
Absolutely.
than just what the brand offers. They really want to believe that the brand is on the same side as they are when it comes to
Yes.
so many different values.
Yes, exactly. You've hit the nail on the head there. Exactly.
Great. Well, let's talk about coronavirus, because obviously COVID-19 has disrupted all the different
Mm-hmm.
industries across the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to budgets, marketing and advertising budgets have been some of the budgets most heavily hit worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So, since we're both marketing professionals, what
Yeah.
major lessons have you learned about marketing during this time? And what do you think the future of marketing will look like?
I think the future of marketing is going to be kind of what I alluded to at the beginning is being human, being personalized, right? That is the future of marketing. If you want to relate to people, you've got to be more personalized to them. And I feel like that is where it's going. And that's what I've learned. So we've had to move. As I said, we spent a lot of money before coronavirus. We spent a lot of money on face-to-face events and dinners and all that kind of stuff. That's all had to move virtual. So
Mhm.
now, you know, what our we're thinking is, how do we leverage platforms like LinkedIn to become as personalized as possible to what our customers are facing, their challenges, their needs. How can we become more human in every interaction? Do you get what I mean? So any video that we post, we're not. It's not. It's almost kind of like we're not trying to get the mass here, right? We are
Right.
trying to say to you, we can help you, right? We can help solve the challenges that you're facing on a day-to-day basis, with our platform and so on and so forth. And really making that as human as possible, and speaking to the different cultures and speaking to the different, backgrounds of our customers. So that, for me, to answer your question, is the future of marketing, is how much more humanized it's going to be, how much more personalized it's going to be.
So it's moving from business to business and business to consumers to business to humans.
100%.
Awesome.
Because the humans is what's buying your product, right? So if you want to sell your product, you have to speak to the human. It has to be a lot more personalized.
Excellent. Okay, well, I wish we had all the time in this world to talk about so many different subjects that I still have pending, but hopefully we'll be able to have a follow-up conversation sometime in the near future and see
Absolutely.
how Clary develops over time. Let's move into the rapid fire set of questions, which is
Sure.
basically your recommendation for our audience. So to start the section off, excuse me, I'd like to learn about your favorite app at the moment, and why?
My favorite app at the moment. I think my favorite app at the moment will probably be Instagram, simply because of the potential that it is. As I said, everything is becoming more human, and it feels like Instagram is becoming a place where I don't know how many businesses are leveraging Instagram, how many B2B software companies are leveraging Instagram, but it's becoming a place where you're going to understand your people more, because your people make your organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can know much more about your people on their Instagram profiles, what they like, what their values are. Instagram speaks for them. So if you want to, I feel like, and most companies, in terms of who comes out on top, is going to be based on their ability to recruit the best talent, right? And I think that, Instagram is going to be a place for that in the future, 100%. So it's really interesting to see, a lot of companies are leveraging that, kind of with the kind of marketing capabilities that Instagram provides. For example, loads and loads of influencers are on there, and I feel like a lot more business executives are going to get themselves on there, because, as I said, everything's going to have to be a lot more personalized, a lot more human. So maybe like someone like in marketing or in sales development, one day don't be surprised if, to do some research on your prospects, you might have to start looking at their Instagram profiles and look at what they're interested in, because everything will be there.
Very interesting insight. Thank you. So, I mean, I do want to talk about Instagram, but unfortunately, our time is limited. I actually just joined Instagram roughly a year ago, so I'm quite new on the platform.
Yes, you are.
I use it for personal reasons, but the reason that I joined Instagram was because in my former life, I used to lead promotional campaigns. So, wide promotional campaigns that were published in mainstream media outlets, online and offline. And I was in the Maldives leading a promotional campaign. Of course, there I was. It was all about high-end luxury resorts, and I didn't have Instagram. So that's when I was like, well, you know what? If I am promoting the Maldives, I need to be on Instagram and also do it from a personal level.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Definitely recommendable, hey? I mean,
100%.
Hop into the Maldives, definitely get yourself out there.
I would say so. And I think Instagram just recently became like, even I think just top Twitter in terms of like news, which was really surprising to me. So as I said, like everything is moving towards there right now. And our customers, they're getting younger and they're all there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how TikTok transforms after COVID-19 as well. Because now everybody's all about TikTok, millennials and the younger generations are using TikTok more than a lot of the other social media channels. And I'd be very interested to see what the future has in store for brands on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, that would be very interesting.
Great. Well, okay, moving into the next question. Where do you find your source of inspiration? For example, is there a marketing influencer that you follow, a hashtag that you really find that provides you with a lot of value?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I would say where I find my marketing inspiration from is probably my fiance, right? Because she's in digital marketing, and she has, she's built a brand from scratch, made it really successful. She just understands, how to use social media and how to use it and monetize it. Like, she just gets it. So, right, it's not like some senior executive somewhere. It's actually my fiance. That's my marketing inspiration. Yeah.
That is so cute. I mean, I'm sure your fiance, her heart's going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, when she hears I shout her out in an interview, yeah.
How sweet. How sweet. Well, it's hard to beat that, hey?
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Okay, what about a book, a publication, or an event that you're a fan of, and why?
Okay, I think a book that I'm a fan of right now. There are two. One is called The Indispensable Linchpin. I actually forgot the name of the writer. And the other one is called High Performance Habits. And I'll say, I kind of, as a professional, it's really important to constantly educate yourself and how you can become, more valuable to your organization. And I'll tell you why. Right, in this period of COVID-19, I'm sure you've probably seen the amount of companies that are laying off people because they've had to cut cost. Sorry, and it's really, it's like, okay, well, what do you need to do to become invaluable? What do you need to do or become that makes your leadership say, we, no matter what, we can't lose this person, right? And for me, that's really important at this stage of my career right now, where it's really important to become indispensable. It's really really important to understand what it takes to become an invaluable member of your company, and so on and so forth. So that's a really important book for me, and it really relates to the stage I am in my career.
Okay, so what's the secret then? What makes you an indispensable employee at Clari?
All right, I think that for me, oh my God, well, I'll tell you the secret. I think for me, it's about, well, my biggest takeaway so far from reading that book is about becoming an agent of change, right? It's becoming someone that is not just a yes person and just goes along with the flow, but being someone that is a problem solver, someone that brings some new solutions, someone that brings new innovation, someone that is always testing and challenging the status quo. That for me, of course, testing and challenging the status quo with something that's even better than what's already in place. That for me is my biggest takeaway from that book I've been reading so far, and that can apply to anyone, no matter what you're doing in your career, no matter what role you're in. Becoming an agent of change and becoming someone that is always challenging, always recommending a new way, a better way to do things. That's I really feel that that's what makes you a much more valuable employee.
Excellent. Well, on that note, I think we're going to end the interview because I can't imagine a more powerful note to end on and also inspirational. So that was Michael. Thank you so much, Michael, for all those great tips, for all those great insights, and also for joining us on the Content Mix. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening in. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out the Content Mix. We'll be releasing interviews just like this one every week, so keep on tuning in and see you next time. Thank you again. Bye.